I used to think you were the reason I stayed small, stayed unsure, like loving you meant shrinking, just to make it feel secure. I blame my fear on timing, blame my doubt on us, but the truth is getting clearer now. It was never love. I thought you had this power to keep me where I was, but I gave you that control and called it trust. You never held me back, I did that on my own. I stayed where I wasn't chosen, called it feeling close. I waited for your effort that never really came. You never held me back, I just didn't walk away. I replay all the moments where I should have seen the signs, how I kept lowering my needs just to stay in your life. You said you didn't mean to hurt me, like to soften the truth, but silence is a choice you make when you don't choose. I kept thinking love was patience, love was staying still, but love doesn't feel like losing who you are for someone else's will. You never held me back, you never asked me to stay. I just kept hoping you'd become someone you never claimed. I gave you all my loyalty, you gave me time and space. You never held me back, I just loved you that way. Oh, maybe love is choosing someone who chooses you too. Maybe peace feels like freedom when it's mutual. I won't blame myself for caring, but I won't do it again. I deserve a love that meets me where I stand. You never held me back, now I finally see I was waiting for permission to set myself free. If loving you felt lonely, then that wasn't my place. You never held me back, I just learned how to walk away. Said you liked how easy everything felt with me, how nothing ever felt heavy, how calm we used to be. But easy for you was distance, it was silence dressed as peace. Easy for you was never asking what it cost me. I kept telling myself this was how love grows, but love shouldn't feel like hiding what you hope they'll know. I was alone in what I felt, even when you were here. I was drowning in the moments you didn't know, dear. I gave you every feeling you never really felt. I was alone in what I felt by myself. I noticed every change in you, every pause, every shift. You said nothing was wrong, like I imagined it. I learned how to stay quiet, so I wouldn't push too far. But silence doesn't save a heart, it just breaks it apart. I waited for you to notice how much I was trying, but you don't see someone's pain when you're already leaving. I was alone in what I felt, in every crowded room. I was holding on to something that was for caring or feeling too deep. I'd rather be alone for real than lonely with you next to me. I was alone in what I felt, but I'm letting it go. I won't hold on to a feeling that I'm carrying alone. If loving you meant losing me, then I finally learned I was alone in what I felt. Now I won't be hurt. You showed up when it was easy, left when it got real. I gave you every truth I had, you gave me half a feel. I learned your habits, all your moves, your reasons not to stay. You learned my heart was open and you walked the other way. I kept telling myself you were just unsure, but uncertainty shouldn't hurt like this anymore. I was real, you were passing, I was building something true. I was standing in the moment, you were already through. I loved like it mattered, you loved like it didn't last. I was real, you were passing, and now it's in the past. I stayed honest when it hurt, didn't play it cool. You hid behind your distance like that made you immune. I kept hoping forever for you to meet me halfway, but you don't hesitate to leave when you never planned to stay. I waited for you to choose me like that choice was fair, but people don't stall forever when love is really there. I was real, you were passing, I felt every goodbye. I was holding on to meaning, you were killing time. I gave you my attention, you gave me an excuse. I was real, you were passing, now I see the truth. I was real, you were passing, I was building something true. I was standing in the moment, you were already through. I loved like it mattered, you loved like it didn't last. I was real, you were passing, and now it's empty true. Maybe love doesn't fade slowly, maybe it's just clear. Maybe if it's mutual, you don't disappear. I won't stay where I'm optional or beg to be seen. I deserve a love that's present, not almost, not in between. I was real, you were passing, but I'm letting it go. I won't chase what won't stay or call it love when it's cold. If being real cost me you, then I'll take that as truth. I was real, you were passing, now I choose me too. You said my name like it was yours, but never said it out loud. I was holding on to something you wouldn't hold around. I knew your fears, your timing, your reasons to stay away. You knew my heart was open and you let it stay that way. I was learning all your edges. You were barely even here. I was falling into something you didn't plan to feel. You were more mine than yours. That's why it hurts so bad. I loved you like I promised. You treated me like a phase. I carried all the weight of what we never were. You were more mine than yours, and I paid for it first. I stayed when it got confusing. You stayed comfortable. I kept asking for clarity. You kept it casual. I defended you to everyone, said you just needed time. Funny how I waited patiently while you never tried. I kept hoping you'd grow closer, say you felt it too, but you don't choose what's easy when love is real too. I deserve a love that's chosen right from the start. You were more mine than yours, but I'm letting you go. I won't love you like a secret or beg you to show. If loving you is lonely, then I choose something new. You are more mine than yours. Now I belong to me too. Said my name like it was nothing, like it didn't carry weight. Every word I ever trusted you could take or leave the same. I read between your sentences, hoping I was wrong, but every pause between your words told me I'd been alone. Kept pretending it was mutual, just to save my pride. But love doesn't feel like guessing or swallowing what you hide. I felt it alone, every high, every low. I was falling in the dark, you were never there close. I gave you my heart, you gave me the cold. I felt it alone, yeah, I felt it. I felt it alone. I stayed quiet when you changed, didn't want to start a fight. Learned how to dim my feelings just to keep you in my life. You said you didn't mean to hurt me, like that softened the truth. But intentions don't heal wounds when the damage still shows through. I kept hoping you'd notice what you never saw, but you don't miss what you don't love. You just move on. I felt it alone, every doubt, every tear. I was holding on to something, you were barely even here. I gave you my patience, you gave me control. I felt it alone, yeah, I felt it alone. Maybe love is meant to feel like someone stays. Maybe if it's real, it doesn't fade this way. I won't blame myself for caring or feeling too much. I'd rather feel alone for real than empty in your touch. I felt it alone, but I'm letting it go. I won't beg for attention from someone so cold. If loving you broke me, then I finally grown. I felt it alone, now I won't anymore. You liked me best when I was easy, when I didn't ask for more, when my feelings stayed convenient and didn't reach your door. I learned how to love in silence so you wouldn't feel the weight. Every time I needed something, you said, let's just wait. I was reading every signal, trying to understand. You were never reading me, you were just passing through my hands. Loving you was a solo act, I carried every scene. I was giving you my whole heart, you were barely even seen. I was standing in the spotlight, you were running from the truth. Loving you was a solo act, I did it all without you. I defended you in conversations, said you were just unsure, but deep down I knew the answer. You didn't feel it like I did before. I planned my days around your maybes, you planned nothing at all. Funny how I kept believing you'd catch me if I fall. I kept waiting for your effort, for you to play your part. But love isn't a performance if it's breaking one heart. Loving you was a solo act, I filled in all the space. I made excuses for your distance, put a smile on my face. I gave you room to matter, you gave me room to ache. Loving you was a solo act, and I stayed way too late. Maybe love should feel like balance, not a role you have to play. Maybe if it's real, it doesn't fade this way. I won't clap for empty effort or wait for someone to choose. I deserve a shared feeling, not a love I have to prove. Loving you was a solo act, but I'm done performing now. I won't stand on empty stages just to hear the silence loud. If loving you meant losing me, then I've learned the truth at last. Loving you was a solo act, and I'm done with that. was quiet, when the sparks began to fade. You said you needed freedom, I said I'd wait. I learned how to read your moods, like they were weather I should fear. Every time you pulled away, I held you near. I kept believing effort could change your mind. I was standing still while you were halfway gone already. I stayed, you drifted, like love was just a phase. I held on to every promise you never meant to say. I gave you all my patience, you gave me doubt instead. I stayed, you drifted, and called it how it ends. You said I asked for too much, when all I want is truth. Funny how wanting honesty made me lose you. I blame myself for your distance, thought love was supposed to hurt. But you don't leave someone slowly if they really matter first. I waited for you to choose me, like that choice was fair. But people don't hesitate when love is really there. I stayed, you drifted, you never looked back. I was building something real, you were already detached. I carried every feeling you never even felt. I stayed, you drifted, and I lost myself. Maybe love isn't fragile, maybe it's just clear. Maybe if it's real, it doesn't disappear. I won't chase a shadow or beg to be seen. I deserve someone who stays when it's not easy. I stayed, you drifted, but I'm letting go tonight. I won't wait in half a story or love without a fight. If staying broke my heart, then leaving sets me free. I stayed, you drifted, now I choose me. You were never hard to love, you were hard to reach. I was always reading into things you didn't mean. I filled the gaps with hope every time you disappeared. Told myself you'd come around if I stayed right here. I made excuses for your absence, called it space, called it fear. But deep down I knew the truth, you were never really here. I loved you by myself, you didn't have to try. I felt everything so deeply, you just let it slide. I built something out of nothing, hoped you'd change your mind. I loved you by myself while you were passing by. I stayed quiet when it hurt, so you wouldn't run. Learn how to lower my voice just to keep you numb. You said you liked how easy everything felt with me. I kept waiting for a sign that you felt it too. But signs don't come from people who never choose you. I loved you by myself, I carried all the weight. I stayed up every night, you slept just fine away. I gave you all my patience, you gave me doubts in time. I loved you by myself and told myself I was fine. Maybe love isn't supposed to feel like you're proving you belong. Maybe if it's real, it doesn't hurt this long. I won't chase another feeling that won't meet me halfway. I won't love someone again who lets me fade. I loved you by myself, but I'm done now, I swear. I won't beg for attention or pretend you were there. If loving you was lonely, then I'd choose something else. I loved you by myself, now I'm choosing myself. I showed up every time you called, even when you didn't care. I was always reading into things that weren't really there. You said you liked how calm I was, how I never made a scene. I kept lowering my standards just to keep you close. I was giving you my best, you were giving me ghosts. Only one heart was trying, only one broken too. I was fighting for a future, you were killing time with me and you. I was falling every moment, you were already gone. Only one heart was trying, and it wasn't yours at all. I defended you to everyone, said they don't understand, while you couldn't even promise you would ever hold my hand. I mistook your hesitation for something deep and real, but love shouldn't feel like guessing or hiding how you feel. I kept waiting for your effort, for you to meet me halfway, but you don't miss what you never loved, you just walk away. Only one heart was trying, only one stayed up late. I was memorizing your silence, you were fine either way. I gave you all my patience, you gave me reasons to cry. Only one heart was trying, and I finally know why. Maybe love isn't meant to hurt like you're hard to choose. Maybe if it's real, it doesn't make you prove. I won't stay where I'm optional or beg to be enough. If loving you felt empty, that was never love. Only one heart was trying, but I won't do it again. I won't shrink myself smaller just to call you my end. If I loved you alone, that's a truth I survive. Only one heart was trying, now it's learning how to fly. You said my name like it was safe, like I was somewhere you could stay. But every time I reached for more, you found another way away. I weighed your silence like a sign, told myself you just needed time. I gave you space, I gave you time. I gave you space, I gave you trust. You gave me reasons not to ask. I showed up every time you called, even when you didn't mean it. I was standing in the truth, you were barely even in it. You let me love you alone, like that was something I You let me love you alone. I memorized the way you smile, like it promised something real. Built a future out of moments you didn't know I'd feel. I defended you to my friends, said they're just scared, that's all. Funny how I fought for you, how you felt nothing at all. I kept hoping you'd step closer, say you felt it too. But hope gets heavy when it's only you. You let me love you alone, you never met me halfway. I held on through the quiet, you walked out of every day. I gave you room to be honest, you chose the easy escape. You let me love you alone, and I paid for every mistake. Maybe someday I'll forgive the girl who stayed too long, calling mixed signals, comfort calling almost strong. I won't beg for a feeling that has to be explained. If love needs convincing, it's already late. You let me love you alone, but I won't do it again. I won't shrink just to keep you, a break to feel like I'm chosen. I gave you my best intentions, you gave me reasons to go. You let me love you alone.